About the combat, yeah, it did seem a little rigid. So for that game, the New York wins. New York Knicks, led by Heath Dixon, won, and Junglist's Dallas Mavericks lost. That means
Valiant effort.
Junglist goes into the loser bracket. Heath sits high up on his high horse in the winner bracket, and now Luke and I play.
I'm just interested to see
so
how many
we're just
threes.
going straight to the championship round?
This is what happened last week as well.
How many 3-pointers did Jung actually put up? How do we find that? 'Cause that'd have to be a record.
Yeah, it will be in the stats.
All while debating sexism in the games industry.
There we go. 3-pointers.
3-pointers.
6 of 27.
Damn.
I thought you made more than that.
What was that?
6 of 27.
It's really.
Yeah.
Thought I
You
made
had
one.
10 second chance points.
Oh, I think there was a lot that was like right on the line,
Right.
but barely inside, so
yeah.
they count as twos.
You did throw up 49 field goals.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm concerned about the combat as well. It looks kind of rigid, and yeah, I don't know. The combat in The Witcher was sort of didn't really have a flow to it. Like there was no interrupts. You never got interrupted when you got hit by anything, or I wasn't getting interrupted. Obviously, I'm only in the fucking prologue, so maybe she gets significantly more, significantly tougher. But I've fought some pretty heavily armored foes already, and they didn't really break me.
Yeah. Well, later on, you start you've got to take all these potions before you jump into a battle, and make sure you got the right weapons equipped. Because if you got the wrong weapon, you're not going to do any damage.
Oh, sounds like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Nothing like Skyrim.
No, nothing.
Anyway, Heath, come man the seats.
Man the Snarf.
Snarf.
Here's the snarf.
Snarf the man.
Okay, so
Let's keep talking.
yes.
What else did you see? Was there you said there was a capturing monsters or just killing monsters?
Just killing monsters. You can appease monsters. You can sort of, oh yeah, we're cool monster. Like you make sacrifices to them and that kind of stuff. But yeah, most of it is killing monsters. Typical RPG stuff with going to kings and talking to them and working out what quests you need to do. There's a full blown day-night cycle. There's full weather cycles, all that kind of stuff. What is with your jersey, son?
I was waiting for you to.
Wait, are they the new All Stars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to go All Stars then?
No.
Say that for the
Really?
championship game.
Yeah,
Ah,
champ.
okay. Good
Well, this
plan.
is it.
Alright, so you're going to be the Lakers then?
I might. No.
Good luck.
I don't think I've got enough players.
Lakers is your team, Luke.
Yeah, there you
I had to play as New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fuck off.
Anyway, yeah, but I genuinely couldn't get over how pretty it looked. I mean, for an open world game, you could, we went, our guides from City Project went for a ride up to this castle on a hilltop, and the whole time they were able to look down, and if you looked closely, you could see little people moving around in the town down the bottom, because it was still rendering all that kind of shit, and it was so far away though that it was implausible.
Yeah.
Which suitably impressive, and come on,
I don't know, man. Alright.
OKC, huh?
Yeah.
So, for game 2, we've got Joe Gilroy as the Miami Heat,
Surprise!
playing Luke Laurie as the Oklahoma City Thunder. And shall we move on to a new game? Because I got...
John's going to tell us about games.
John.
John's gonna tell us about games.
John's hourly Dark Souls segment.
Sure. Well, I guess I'm still limited to just the early sections of the game. But here's a little thing about Dark Souls.
Hey,
Yes.
tell Twitter that John's talking about Dark Souls 2.
Ah.
You can just type it in on the mic.
Oh, yeah, there's that. Ah.
I think I wasn't planning on saying too much, but I guess I could keep talking about
Oh,
it.
God, how do I tweet? Ah, there.
Go.
Go.
So I think they're gonna make, you know, obviously weapons are balanced for many, you know, across many factors. Like, you know, the amount of damage they do is just one part, and their range is another part, and then the move set is another part. The amount of stamina each swing takes is another part. The amount that they scale with your stats is another part. So all these are factors that, you know, balance the weapons and stuff. I think another part that they're trying to play around with a little bit in this one is durability. The way durability works in Dark Souls 2 for weapons and armor is when you rest at a bonfire, everything's kind of replenished, and each weapon or whatever has a little health bar, like a very small health bar below it that you don't really take note of, but it you know, as you start hitting, you know, stone surfaces and crap like that, you know, your weapon durability will go down quite a bit. And in the earlier builds of the game, this was set to like overdrive, like you would just kill maybe 10, 15 guys and already your weapon was broken. Then the pendulum kind of swung the other way, and you didn't have to worry about durability much, but then now it's kind of back in the middle again, where you have to think about it, especially with certain weapons. Like I've got this big ass axe that I'm using at the moment, which is just pretty sweet, and I just kind of don't have to worry about durability, which is fine. But then on the other hand, you've got weapons like the Uchi-Katana, which, you know, Dark Souls players will know, but it's, you know, famously weak. I mean, it's a strong weapon to use, but yeah, fragile is the right word. So even in that one, you know, it's like if you ever get into a situation where it's like, you know, you drop into like a pool of acid or something that erodes your gear, or if your opponent has like a weapon or something that damages gear, like, you know, that Uchi-Katana is going to be the first thing to go, right? So with this one, I think they're using that as a balancing factor, along with the fact that, you know, every time you rest at a bonfire, your stuff gets returned to normal. So you don't have to go back to the blacksmith to repair it unless it's like outright broken and not working at all. But it's like if you have one of those weak or fragile weapons like a Uchi-Katana, or there's a few others in the game, then you really have to keep an eye on it. It's like you do a couple kills, you bash it against the rock wall, and then it's like, it's just something you constantly have to think about. It's, oh man, I've got this strong weapon, and maybe it might excel a bit in the other factors, like it might do a bit more damage, it might scale a bit better, it's got mad range, that sort of stuff, but this thing breaks after killing like, you know, 10 dudes.
Yeah.
So there's gear like that as well. Rings now have durability now.
Oh.
So I have a ring at the moment that is kind of the same sort of philosophy. It does a lot of shit. Increases my health, increases my stamina, increases my equipment load. It's a pretty sweet ring, but famously fragile. And if I'm ever in a situation where, you know, my stuff's getting wrecked, it's the first to go. And then at that point, it's like getting back to the bonfire is not going to help. At that point, I do have to go to the blacksmith, and he charges me a shitload of souls to repair the thing.
Right.
Which I guess kind of balances out, because it's like the whole time you don't have to spend souls to repair the bonfire. It's just done. But then if you let it outright break, then you're going to have to pay for that.
So if you fall into this pit of acid, is it only stuff equipped on you?
No, like if you're spending some time in there, if you're holidaying in the pit of acid, everything's gonna break sooner or later. But it's that weak stuff that's gonna be the first to go.
Yeah.
I was unfortunate enough to fall into one of those pits just recently, and I've got this chest piece that's in these gauntlets that are really strong, and they have high poise, and they block heaps of damage, but they also kind of break to that stuff really easy. So it's fine. Like they're at the point where it's like fine when I'm just fighting here and there, and then I rest at the bonfire, everything's sweet. But then if ever something happens like that specifically takes out gear, it just gets completely totaled. but then there's other stuff in the game where it's like it's quite good, but it's actually not fine to just play the normal game going from bonfire to bonfire. It's like you'll actually have to take that into account. It's like kill 10 guys, maybe speed run a bit and don't fight until the next bonfire, that sort of stuff. Yeah, and it's kind of odd stuff that breaks, like the club is not doing so great. Just a hunk of wood
Yeah.
seems to break.
They're
Yeah.
fragile, man.
Yeah, I thought it was a bug in the early in the early builds. I was like, everything is breaking way too easy, but I think it was just this thing they were playing around with,
Right.
which at the moment is just this thing that you kind of have to keep in the back of your head, but not worry about too much. Also, a lot more dead ends in Dark Souls 2,
Really?
which is okay because of the design that they've taken. Like the level design, usually in Dark Souls, like there was something would always lead on to another thing. Like it would always be like a loop. You come back around into the back of some other area. But Dark Souls 2 is not afraid to have dead ends because warping between bonfires is enabled right from the start.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've intentionally put a lot of dead ends in there where it's like you explore as far as you can go and then go back and warp. Yeah, and I'm really liking the we were talking about lore last time.
Yep.
And I think I mentioned last time that it's still really early days, and I was unwilling to make a judgment. Like obviously, Demon Souls is my favorite in terms of lore, but I wasn't really willing to make a full judgment on this one. I think I've come across something that I really like about the lore, and I'm just thinking about how much I should say about it. I think this isn't spoilery. Like if you don't want to have anything at all spoiled for you at all, then maybe don't listen to this next couple of sentences. But it's not really a spoiler. It's just that everyone's going to be thinking about the connections between Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2. And everyone's going to be thinking about, like the land, and does it come from the same land? Is it the same land? Like, are these NPCs the same people? Are they descendants? Are they, is this the same race of people? Is it a sequel? Is it a prequel? Everyone's going to be thinking, where on the timeline is it? Obviously, everything's very vague because it's like, the intersecting timelines and spaces of Lordran and stuff like that. So Drangleic is the new land in Dark Souls 2, and I guess the only thing I wanted to say there is that no one really knows.
What?
Yeah, and what I mean by that is not just. I mean, obviously, the developers know because what the developers do is they kind of write the story and then just not tell it, which I think is genius.
Yeah.
And it does end up being different to just not thinking of it, like there is a certain wholeness to it with the approach that they've taken, as opposed to someone who might just kind of have just kind of said, oh, well, we'll put this here and that there, and then let them make it up for themselves. And no, it's not like that. It's like there is a story there. You could consider it the proper story, but obviously there's no wrong way to interpret or experience Dark Souls. But what I mean by that sentence, no one knows, is that even the NPCs don't know. Like in a game, normally in a video game, they're there to tell you bits, and they're there to give you an idea of what the hell's going on. But in Dark Souls, these, just like the other adventurers have come across the land of Dark Souls, and just like in Dark Souls, like everyone was acting under the belief that they are the chosen undead, and they're obviously aware of invaders and phantoms, both white and red, from other lands and stuff like that. And the NPCs are the same. The NPCs, they have their own adventures, their own intrigues, their own goals, stuff like that. So they will have their own interpretations of what's happening in Drangleic, and they will tell you what they think. And they might be a little bit right, they might be a little bit wrong. Maybe they know about one thing, like this covenant they're a part of, and maybe they don't know about another thing, but they'll still talk about it a little bit.